All right, here catching up with Alex Smalley. First time gaining his tour card in this past month. A bit of a whirlwind for you, Alex. We got plenty of questions kind of about your past, your collegiate history, but we'll start really with the last month and kind of everything from a good performance at the Wyndham, kind of your home event, into the Corn Ferry Finals and gaining that tour card.
Yeah, it's kind of surreal still to believe that I'm out here in Napa getting ready to start the first event of the next PGA Tour season. It's been crazy. I got the chance of a lifetime to play in a tournament at my home course. I'm a member at Sedgefield, so for Mark Brazel to give me the opportunity to play a PGA Tour event there was great. Can't thank him enough for doing that for me. Had a lot of fans, a lot of people that I played with over at Sedgefield were out there cheering me on. My whole family was there, which was pretty neat. All of them don't get to watch me in most of the tournaments, so it was great having them there. And making the weekend was a big goal, but playing well on the weekend was another one. And was very fortunate to get a couple of very lucky breaks on the weekend, on Sunday especially, coming down the stretch to finish with 4 birdies in a row and kind of cement my position in the Corn Ferry Finals. And the next day after Sunday, on Monday, I was off to Boise, so it's been a whirlwind. And then we went from Boise to Columbus, and then Columbus to Indiana, and played 4 weeks in a row there, and was home for 4 days, and had to come out here to Napa to start freshman orientation, I guess you could call it, for new PGA Tour members. So I've only had 4 days at home in the past 3 or 4 weeks, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be maybe the most unique orientation you've probably ever had in your life, in terms of being able to be one of the lucky few who's earned a tour card and can say that in playing this season. So overall, just we talked about the whirlwind. How's it been this week? You've played in tour events before, obviously, but now being a full-fledged member, you're a rookie, and you're trying to make a name for yourself. How's the week in Napa been, and how are you prepping, and what can we kind of expect Thursday through hopefully Sunday?
The week hasn't been too bad. We flew out here on Saturday, and then orientation started Saturday night. Sunday was pretty long. We started at 7:30 in the morning, and then our final dinner ended at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So I survived the 1-day orientation. It felt like freshman year back in college or high school all over again. A lot of information. You're just trying to get through the day, but a lot of it, was stuff that's nice to know. Played 9 holes on Monday, played 18 yesterday. I wasn't in the Pro-Am today, so if you're not in the Wednesday Pro-Ams, then you can't really be on the golf course. So today was just putting and hitting, range work, chipping work. Got that done in the morning, and just trying to relax a little bit before the tournament starts tomorrow. Looking forward to it. The course is in great shape. I've never been out in Napa before, so driving past all the wineries, it's tough to count how many you drive past to get to the course, but the course is really neat. I've heard it can play really firm. I think the weather's going to be conducive for those conditions as well. I think it might get a little windy just about every afternoon. So if it does firm up, it'll be a little challenging, but I'm looking forward to the test, and hope to play well.
Has anyone really kind of reached out to give some words of encouragement? Maybe some, veterans of the PGA Tour, former teammates, just, anyone of note to your life, or anyone cool where you've kind of had to pinch yourself and be like, wow, when am I going to wake up from this dream?
There are a number of Duke guys that have played on the PGA Tour, because I played collegiately at Duke. So Ryan Blom, who's out there, reached out to me, congratulated me. Joe Ogilvy, who's played on tour for a number of years and recently retired 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. maybe a little earlier than that, reached out to me and connected me with Kevin Struman.
That's
I've
great.
I've met Kevin a couple times at a couple of the events, but haven't, it was only through passings and haven't really gotten to play with him or sit down with him and talk. So he's not here this week, I don't believe. He'll be out at the Sanderson Farms in a couple of weeks, so I look forward to seeing him there. Obviously, all the teammates that I played with at Duke, told me congratulations, and I've been fortunate to play with some bigger names, I guess you could say, in the events I have played in. I actually played with Matt Kuchar the Sunday at the Wyndham, which was really neat. Matt was really nice, and played with Johnson Wagner was in that group as well. So I think he lives in Charlotte. I think he said he plays at Quail Hollow. So a nice little Carolina connection there. And
Yeah.
I want to say his caddy was David Geis, who plays in some CGA events.
Okay.
So I played with David a little bit earlier on in college and like the Carolinas AM and stuff like that, and haven't seen him since then. So that was fun. Played with Pat and Kazire at the John Deere a couple of months ago. I've been lucky enough to play with a lot of really good guys that have, had some very nice things to say to me and some encouraging words and some pieces of advice. Played with Peter Malnati yesterday. He was really nice, and played with Mark Leishman for 9 holes yesterday. So just getting started, hopefully I can play with a lot more people, meet a lot of the guys, and get some good pairings.
Yeah, and to just kind of double back now, that was my next question anyways. A really, really good career at Duke. Potentially one of the best ever, setting all sorts of records as a Blue Devil. Just kind of talk us through your career there. Why Duke? Was it to stay home? Kind of the recruiting process, and and as well, I mean, just your amateur career in general, a Walker Cup and all the success you had there in 2019. Just kind of talk me through all that and all that experience being able to play college golf in your home state, and it was leading to this great journey you're about to embark on.
Well, it's certainly a lot to unpack. So I guess we'll start at the beginning. I wasn't looking to go super far away from home, I guess you could say. I didn't want to go much further north than North Carolina or Virginia, just because it's tougher to play in the wintertime. And
yeah, you want to play year round.
Right. You want to stay sharp in the off season. It's nice to have an off season, but you still want to be able to practice and play to get ready for the spring. So I was looking mostly in the Southeast for colleges, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Virginia. Didn't really venture out west much further past than Georgia, really. So just ended up working out that got to stay close to home at Duke. It was, when I lived in Wake Forest, it was 40 minutes away, which was nice. I could go home whenever I had some free time. Then when we moved to Greensboro, it was almost exactly an hour from Greensboro. So it was about the same time in the opposite direction. I would say my first year was more of a learning process, especially the first semester. For me at least, it was the first time that I was away from home for an extended period of time, and just trying to make a schedule on my own for a day, just trying to figure that out. And then, having schoolwork to do, and, practice to go to, and workouts to do, and, studying that you have to do. And you just have a lot more on your plate, and doing it on my own. It took me a good semester to figure it out. So my fall semester didn't play nearly as well as I had hoped I was going to. Played a little bit better in the spring, and it just kind of felt like I got incrementally better as the years went on. I got more comfortable out there, felt like I could compete a lot more, felt like I had a lot more self-belief, and that was a big thing for me, self-confidence, to know that I could not only play against some of the top ranked amateurs in the world, but beat them was big for me. And then let's see, qualified for the US Open between my, I want to say, sophomore and junior year of college. And that was a big boost of confidence for me, just, being able to hit balls on the range next to a lot of the guys that I grew up watching on TV was pretty neat. And then having a chance on Friday to make the cut and ultimately missing it by a couple shots. I think looking back, if I can remember correctly, I want to say I tied Dustin Johnson that week, and I think I beat Rory that week, and I might have.
Well, that's a good thing to hang on to.
Yeah, I might have been tied with Adam Scott as well. So,
Sure, yeah.
Being in, it didn't feel great missing the cut by a couple, but being in the company of names like that, has to make you feel good. It was a great learning experience, great first professional event to get under my belt. And that really just kind of kicked off my junior year of college. Played pretty well. I think our team did really well that year too. We made it to the semifinals of the NCAAs. And since we did that, we got to go to Eastlake the next year. And then I felt like I was playing well my whole senior year, and was fortunate enough to be picked for the Honor of Palmer Cup at the Alotian Club in Arkansas, and that was really neat. That was my first. Oh, actually, I played in the Carolinas Virginias matches, so that was my first team event. But the Arnold Palmer Cup was a lot of fun. It was a mixed event, men and women, which was really neat. I think it makes that event very unique.
Yeah, that's great.
And
there's not enough of that kind of going around.
No, it was a lot of fun getting to play with, partnering with the women, and just how straight and accurate and how well it's unbelievable.
Can you almost learn like kind of from their games when you're kind of playing? Because obviously the men's and the women's game are a little different. Do you almost try to take some of the things they do maybe from a more technical standpoint?
I would say one of the things is just watching how smooth their swings are. And, I don't feel like my swing is super fast or super aggressive, but you see some of the swings from some people from the men's side, definitely, and they're super aggressive. And then you see these women that are just, they're just silky smooth swings, and they just hit the fairway every single time. So it just kind of goes to show you that you don't really need to try and kill the ball to get it in the fairway or hit it a reasonable distance. There's so much to take away from them, but it was just a really fun event. I think our team lost pretty big, unfortunately, but it was a lot of fun, and certainly an event that I'll remember for a long time. And then I stayed amateur through the summer to have a chance to be on the Walker Cup team, and ended up making that team, which was a great experience.
That's the pinnacle really of as you mentioned, kind of team golf, especially as an amateur. That's as big as the Ryder Cup if you're retaining that status. And
it was, I was
being able to go over there must have been great as well.
Yeah, very, very grateful and very fortunate to have had the chance to play on that Walker Cup team with how prestigious and some of the names that have played in that event are unbelievable, and to be alongside not only those names, but some of the guys that were on our team were making really big names in themselves now. So it was great to be in that company. That was my first time playing links golf, because we played at Hoylake at Royal Liverpool.
Yep.
And that was my first time I've really played true links golf. So it's a little different.
How was that adjustment? Because everyone always talks about any quote you hear from any PGA Tour guy who's based out of the US when they go for the Scottish Open and the Open and that kind of stretch of the calendar is, you never play anything like this. How was that adjustment for you?
We were fortunate enough to get there a week ahead of when the matches were. So we got a lot of practice on multiple golf courses, not only Hoylake, but we got to play Royal Birkdale as well. And, most of the golf over there is played on the ground. It was it was very windy a couple of the practice rounds at Hoy Lake. It was blowing 40 and 50 miles an hour.
Well, those are the stories
And
you always hear about it. It's,
yeah,
it's
and it
draining
was,
sideways and you're hitting a driver into a par three. It's
I mean,
just
it was,
kind of what's going on.
it was literally almost unplayable. It was so bad, but a lot of us just really wanted to experience that because we haven't, experienced that over here before. So we went and played, we might've played 9 holes that day. And I keep telling people I had one shot on one hole that was into the wind from 120 yards and I hit 6 iron. And then we turned the other direction and there was a par 5 that I had 235 yards and hit 9 iron to 20 feet.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy to try and adjust that quickly with things, but we had a great time. And fortunately for our team, the wind died down pretty significantly over the weekend. I think it was only blowing 10 to 15 at the most, both Saturday and Sunday when the matches were, which I think helped us quite a bit.
Definitely, yeah.
And there was a lot of red on the board Sunday afternoon and Sunday singles. I think we took 8 of the 10 Sunday singles matches. It was very quiet out on the golf course that day, which was
a good
for
quiet.
us.
Yeah.
It was a very good quiet. So it was a lot of fun. Another memory I'll have for forever. And I guess that's pretty much my 4 years before turning pro.
And just kind of stick in the amateur realm, along with these events. The Sanahana, you had success there. And even kind of state-wise, you won an NC Junior Boys back in the day, one of our events.
I did.
Kind of just talk to me about coming up through junior golf, how you got started, maybe who introduced you to the game and your experience playing and kind of those local circuits starting out that, so many players get their starts in.
So I've been told my grandmother got me my first set of plastic golf clubs when I want to say I was 2 or 3 or 4, somewhere around there. Yeah. And I would go out and beat balls in the backyard in the middle of a snowstorm in North Carolina in December or January. So that's one of my first golf memories.
That's awesome.
I also played hockey and baseball growing up. So I did that until I was 10 years old, somewhere around there. And then after we won a hockey tournament, I turned to my parents and said, I want to play golf. I just want to do golf now. So ever since I was 9 or 10, it's been golf, just golf. And my dad and I would go out and play 9 holes. I'd say 3 or 4 times a week after middle school or high school during the week. And he would play with me all the time on the weekends. And you brought up the CGA stuff. I didn't travel a whole lot outside of the state to play junior golf. I mean, some of the names growing up in the Carolinas for junior golf were unbelievable. I mean, Joshua Martin was unbelievable growing up, and it seemed like he won everything. It was crazy. But I grew up playing with Doc Redman, who's out on tour now, Stephen Franken, who's on the Korn Ferry Tour, Carter Jenkins, Grayson Murray, Zach Seabolt, just a lot of really good names, and Will Gordon as well. Probably people I'm forgetting, but it was crazy how competitive some of those events were. So I didn't feel like I needed to, travel to Texas or California to play in these AJGA events. I mean, we had so much good competition just in North and South Carolina and Georgia that I was getting a lot of really good reps, against a lot of really good players. And you mentioned the North Carolina Junior. We played it that year at Roaring Gap, and I think was it this year they were back at Roaring Gap?
They were, yeah, we were back at Roaring Gap this year.
Yeah.
Pictures look great. I wasn't able to get out there. I kind of taken everyone's word for it, and I'm sure I'll take it as well that the place is just a spectacular golf course.
Yeah, I was reminiscing a little bit as I was following along, watching some of the matches.
That's great. Just to kind of turn back now towards your pro career as we flip and flop and leapfrog our way around here. What was turning pro originally like? Out of college, all of a sudden it's okay. I gotta maybe Monday qualify. I gotta play in some mini tours and earn my stripes a little bit. So how was that? And then especially with you kind of turned pro, maybe not at an inopportune time, might not be the right phrase for it, but COVID kind of hit and stuff kind of slowed down. How'd you stay fresh? And what was that whole just situation like?
Yeah, so I obviously it was an unfortunate situation with coronavirus. I mean, no one really saw it coming. There's nothing you could really do. I mean, I kind of go back and forth trying to decide if I would rather have been in college when it happened or out of college when it happened. So I made the most of it, and that's about all you can really do is, take the punches and try and make a game plan. And I think I did a reasonable job at that. But going back to turning pro, I turned pro right after the Walker Cup and had Q school to get ready for. So I only had, I think, 3 weeks between when I turned pro and the first stage of Q school. I played it at Irish Creek. So I didn't really have a whole lot of time at all to get ready for, like playing in mini tour events or playing in any qualifiers. It was, I'm turning pro. Okay, here you go. Play well at Q school. Have fun.
Figure it out. Yeah, it's
right.
kinda
Yeah, right out
right
of the
into the
gates.
wolves.
Yeah, and I played really well at first stage and got to go to second stage and had one bad round at second stage, and that's all it really takes to kind of get derailed a little bit. So I didn't make it to final stage, and I was pretty upset, pretty beaten up. Wasn't really sure what I was going to do next. It was kind of a little unexpected, but that's what happens. It's that's golf, right?
A humbling
Pretty
game.
cliche
Yeah.
phrase, but it's
It
it's
humbles
golf.
everyone
It
who plays it.
happens. So went back to the drawing board a little bit. And this was before COVID, obviously. So I had planned on doing Mackenzie Q School regardless in the spring, and just try and play as many tour events as I could between or before Q School to get ready for Mackenzie Q School, and then hopefully have a season in Canada in the summer of 2020. And then COVID hit in March. I was fortunate enough to have played in one of the first Q schools for Mackenzie in 2020. So I got my Mackenzie Tour status before COVID. So I had that in my back pocket. Golf kind of shut down for 2 or 3 months. So just had to practice a little bit and hopefully get ready for whenever a season would start up. I actually ended up Monday qualifying for the Waste Management Phoenix Open in January of 2020. So that was, another really cool experience to have. Playing in front of that crowd was crazy.
Biggest galleries in golf right there.
Oh my goodness, it's a circus. So, I it's funny. I keep telling people, my first 2 PGA Tour events were US Open and then the Waste Management.
That's a hot start. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm saying, I keep telling people, I kind of got thrown into the fire, and playing in anything else is going to seem very easy.
Yeah. Would you almost just rather, like, let's get hard stuff out of the way, let's play in a US Open and how hard that can be, and let's play in front of the craziest fans in the arena par 3 and figure it out. I mean, does that kind of help your mental process? Because the mental state's so big in golf. Does that help you along to be able to kind of hold on to those past experiences, maybe when you're in the middle of a tumultuous round?
Certainly. And I learned quite a bit early on at the US Open. I mean, I had never seen that many people on a golf course before. Even in the practice rounds at the US Open, It was crazy. I mean, there were people everywhere. And I was so nervous, even in the practice rounds. I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know how to handle it. It's like I said, trial by error.
Exactly.
You just have to kind of do it in order to figure out what's best for you. And took me a couple of days, a couple of the practice rounds at the US Open. And then by Wednesday, I was like, people don't know who I am. They're not going to care what kind of shots I hit, or they're not going to remember me. I'm not a big name, so I'm just going to go out and play. It doesn't matter what I shoot. They're not going to care. So that helped me quite a bit. I took a little bit of that into Phoenix as well. They have no idea who I am. So it doesn't, so be it, I guess.
Sure, yeah. Let me just play some golf, and there just happens to be 200,000 people here,
I mean, getting up on 16 tee box in Phoenix it's almost dizzying. I mean, the hole looks fake because you can't see anything around it. Because usually,
Sure.
I mean, you can see different holes from a tee box or
Yeah.
something like that. We just have 50-foot grandstands on every single side of you, and it's hard to describe it.
It's almost kind of stupid, is it not?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
it's just like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, I mean, all I can say is that the hole looked fake. It didn't look like a real hole. But I could not look up. If I looked up into the stands, I was done. So I hit the green the first day, missed it the second day, hit the green and rolled off, and I got booed pretty good. But
That's what they do. Yeah.
Yeah, I hit it chip to 4 feet, made the putt for par. So I played that hole and even the two rounds that I played there. So I got that for me. But so I played in that, and then played in Q school in March for the Mackenzie and got my card. And the next week is when the tour shut down. So I was like everybody else, I was in limbo for a couple of weeks trying to figure out what to do. And then shortly after that, it came out that obviously that they weren't going to have a Mackenzie Tour season up in Canada that summer just because of what was going on, which is, understandable. The first event back, I actually Monday qualified for the Corn Ferry event, the first one back at TPC Sawgrass, so I got to play in that. Another great experience. I didn't play very well, missed the cut there as well, but learned a few things and took that into the rest of the 2020 season, played in a few mini tour events, and the international tours created the local IQ series for the Mackenzie Tour members, Latin American members, and the China members to kind of give people a place to play in the fall of 2020, just because every season got canceled.
Yeah.
So I played in those events. I think we had, I want to say we had 8 events. We had 8 events in the fall and played pretty well there. And then, shut it down for the winter and tried to regroup for 2021. Oh, I actually played, I got an exemption, sponsors exemption into the Corrales event, the Dominican Republic event on the PGA Tour in September when it was a full field event, and finished tied for 14th there. So that was, that made me feel really
That's
good.
great.
That was my
the momentum to build on there almost.
Yeah, that was my first PGA Tour cut that I made, and I can't tell you how excited I was on Friday coming off the course, knowing I was going to make the cut. And that was big for me in a number of ways. The biggest one was that it meant that I didn't have to play in the pre-qualifiers for the Monday qualifiers for PGA Tour events. Making a cut in a season, you get to go straight to the Monday qualifier. So that was the happiest. That was what I was happy most.
That helps kind of eliminate part of the grind almost.
Oh yeah, that was
big weight off your shoulders.
That was the happiest. Having a tough time saying it. That was the thing I was the happiest about after Friday. There we go. Not having to play in the pre-qualifiers, because the pre-qualifiers are usually 3 or 4 days before the Mondays, and it's really hard to plan out a week when you're going there, and then you have to play in the pre-qualifier, and you're not even sure if you're going to make it to Monday. And if you do make it to Monday, then you have to stay in the region or the area for 3 or 4 days and try.
There's a lot of uncertainty there. Where it's, how can you really play your best golf? And it's so hard, and it almost gives you the appreciation for that side of the grind, where it's like, you get to the PGA Tour and it's like all the hard work's done because you're not planning out things at the last second and just having that hectic of a schedule.
Oh, absolutely. So ended up playing well on the weekend, finished tied for 14th and got some FedEx Cup points. And played in a couple other Monday qualifiers before the end of the season and didn't make it into anything. And just kind of tried to plan out my 2021 season. And, I got 51 FedEx Cup points in Corrales and thought, man, if I can get a few more opportunities and take advantage of those opportunities, I could, possibly earn enough points to make it into the Corn Ferry Finals at the end of the season. So 2021 started off the same way. Played in mini tour events to try and get ready for the Monday qualifiers and what was to come next, and really didn't play very well at all. Well, at least for my standards, didn't play very well at all the first 4 or 5 months of 2021. Was pretty disappointed. But I did get invited back to the Dominican Republic event in March when it was an opposite field event, and played well again there, finished 22nd. So I got some more points and was edging closer to, I guess you could call it the threshold. I mean, there really isn't
your goal.
Right. There isn't it. It's hard to really know what the number is going to be to get inside the top 200 on the FedEx Cup to get to Corn Ferry Finals. I felt like if I could get to 100 FedEx Cup points, I would feel pretty good. So after March, I had 74 points. So I really started aggressively, circling the PGA Tour Monday qualifiers. So I played in, I played in, basically all of them from April up until June to see if I could play well to get some more starts and take advantage of them. And I was sending emails to tournament directors to see if I could get any more sponsors exemptions. So I played in, some mini tour events when I was home, when there weren't any Monday qualifiers. And I, still had McKenzie Tour status. And eventually they came out with the Forum Tour, which is basically the same thing as a McKenzie Tour, but it was in the US, which was great for me because, you don't have to, your expenses aren't as high going to another country and flying back and forth and trying to find hotels. It made things a little easier, and fortunate enough that the Forum Tour events were either Tuesday through Friday or Wednesday through Saturday. So I could, go play in Monday qualifiers between Forum Tour events. And
it's kind of a better semblance of the minor leagues, I guess, for lack of a better term. And
right,
something that, maybe golf needed along with the Corn Ferry Tour is another proving ground, and one that didn't infringe and impose upon the ability to Monday qualify still.
Yeah, it was tough. I had, I think I counted, I had 15 or 16 days in a row where I played a round of golf because I played the first Forum Tour event was in Georgia.
Yep.
The final round was on Saturday. Sunday morning early, I flew up to Detroit to play in the Rocket Mortgage Monday qualifier. So I flew up Sunday morning, played practice round on Sunday afternoon, Monday qualifier on Monday. Missed the playoff by a shot, I think I did. So Monday night, we flew from Detroit back to Atlanta, and stayed in Atlanta Sunday night, and then drove on Monday from Atlanta to Auburn to play in the next Forum Tour event. Played 9 holes Monday afternoon when I got there, and then the tournament was Tuesday through Saturday. Tuesday through Friday.
Yeah.
After Friday, we flew up to Illinois to play in the John Deere Monday qualifier, and I played well there and ended up Monday qualifying for the John Deere. So I had another tournament. So yeah, that was 16 or 17 days in a row where I played a round of golf, and took advantage of the Monday qualifier. Was in pretty good position after 36 holes and didn't play my best over the weekend, but got some more points and I was edging closer to Corn Ferry Finals. And then after that, I took some much needed time off.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Off.
I mean,
took a week off or so.
That's a grind in itself, 2+
Yeah.
weeks of traveling
was-
and competing at a high level and trying to play your best golf all while trying to earn your stripes.
Yeah, it was insane. And then, a week later, kind of back doing the same thing, going to Minnesota for the 3M Open Monday qualifier. Didn't make it there that night. We flew to Chicago for the next Form Tour event. Was very tired. I think we got to the hotel room in Chicago at 1:00.
Jeez.
Well, what was Tuesday morning, 1:00 Tuesday morning, and I had
Yeah.
an 8:00 tee time on Tuesday morning. So that was
hectic.
unfortunate,
Yeah,
but
just
it
absolutely
happens. And I played reasonably well that day and got really tired and bogeyed the last 3 holes. Ended up missing the cut at that event, but it was probably for the best, just to kind of go home and recuperate and rest a little bit.
Definitely.
There was another Form Tour event in Indiana that I played in, and then was getting ready for the Wyndham Championship, because I knew back in February or March that I got an exemption to play in the Wyndham. So I had that event circled on my calendar for 6 months.
For a number of reasons too, not just the sponsor's exemption, just the fact you're back home essentially.
Yeah. Sedgefield is where I play and practice when I'm at home. So
just a great opportunity.
Having a tour event on a course that I knew pretty well was something I was very much looking forward to. And a lot of people might not have known what I had on my plate going into that week. I feel like I needed about a top 40 finish would have solidified my spot in the Korn Ferry Finals to have a chance to play for my PGA Tour card. And I had a really good day on Friday, made the cut, was sitting pretty well. It might have been tied for 8th after Friday. Had a bad Saturday, just didn't really play very well, and dropped back a little bit, but had a heck of a finish on Sunday to be able to play in the Korn Ferry Finals, like I mentioned. And we flew up to Boise the next day, and the rest is history. Played well in Columbus, finished tied for 4th, and locked up my PGA Tour card. So I went from playing I was playing a Form Tour event 6 or 7 weeks ago, and now I have my PGA Tour card. It's
great.
It's crazy.
It's awesome.
Been a whirlwind of a season, but I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, definitely not. I guess what's the best piece of advice you've gotten recently, or just in general? And it can be from anyone. It can be from a college teammate, a pro out there right now, a family member. What's the best piece of advice, and something you kind of hold on to in your head when you're practicing playing golf, and maybe something to hold on to when you're a little down on yourself?
It's a good question. I've had a number of people have told me that you belong here, you made it here. Some people play golf for a lifetime and never have the opportunity to play on the PGA Tour, but you made it here, so you're good enough to be here. So don't get caught up in all of the headlights or all the distractions that might be out there. But one of the best pieces I actually probably got yesterday from Peter Malnati. He said, do things your way. There's no right way to do things out here. He says he still lives in Knoxville and practices in Knoxville. He said he graduated from college and started playing professionally and went down to Florida, and like most golfers do, went down to Florida and for the winter time, and said he didn't like it, so he moved back to Knoxville. And it's probably not a thing a lot of golfers would have done, but he felt like for him that was the best thing for him. So he told me just to do things my way, and don't start changing stuff. Don't feel like you need to get better because Bryson DeChambeau's hitting at 340 yards. Now you need to start hitting at 340 to keep up with him. He said, you've made it here for a reason. Your game's good enough to compete out here. So, just keep doing what you're doing and do it your way, and you'll be just fine.
What would you say is Alex Smalley's way? You know, if you had to define it, what's your way of playing golf, and what's your mentality that's been able to get you here?
Oh boy. Um, I would say, I don't know. I try to play uh, conservatively, aggressively.
I
So
like
I
that.
pick,
I
yeah,
like that a lot. Yeah.
yeah. So I pick, Thursday, Friday, I might not keep the pedal to the metal as much. I might pick more conservative targets, or um, I think for me, recognizing when I'm out of position has been a great thing for me. That's thing I've really taken in stride over the last few months, especially playing in tour events. You really have to recognize when you're out of position, and you can't try to do the hero. You can't try and take the hero shot all the time.
Sure.
And I still do it, getting out of position. You're in the trees, you're like, oh man, I can hit this shot, and then it goes poorly. But recognizing when I'm out of position, if I'm in the rough, and if I'm in the right rough and it's a back right pin over a bunker, recognizing that, from 150 yards, I'm gonna make bogey in this situation, or from 170 yards, I'm gonna make bogey in this situation more times than I'm gonna make birdie. So recognizing that aspect of it, and then just aiming 30 feet left of it, and just trying to get it on the green at that point, taking your two putt and getting out of there is what I try to do on Thursdays and Fridays, to just try and make as many pars as I can and sprinkle in some birdies and make it to the weekend. But I feel like my game's in a really good place, and I just try to be as consistent as I can, and hit as many greens as I can, and hopefully some putts will drop, and just kind of go from there.
What would you say your biggest strength is on the golf course and in your game? What's, no matter what, whatever it is, you can rely on and you can kind of use as a crutch when you need it?
Oh, I would say right now I feel really good about my iron game, my approach shots. Feel really good about where my swing is and the way the ball's moving, and just kind of that aspect of it. But I would say tee shots, especially, I like to flight a driver down. I like to hit a low driver if it's a tight fairway, or if there's trouble on one side. I can hit a little low driver out there, and it'll might carry 260, 265 yards, but it'll roll out 40 or 50 yards. And I feel really good about that shot. I feel like it's kind of a weapon for me.
Sure. Yeah.
And I can do that I can hit a 3-iron and bring the flight down a little bit. So just for me, feeling comfortable hitting a normal driver on a hole, or, bringing the flight down and hitting a low driver, I feel like I can at least get the ball in play more times than not. And then, I just kind of build on that from there. The thing out here is you want to hit as many fairways as possible, because it's not like the rough's an inch or half an inch. There's some rough out here, and the greens are a little firmer and a little quicker than what I'm used to playing. Well, what I was used
Sure.
to
Yeah.
playing.
Exactly.
So just, having the ability to change my trajectory based off of, what the circumstances are, or what the shape of the hole is, I feel like is a big advantage for me.
What would you say are your expectations, this week, but not only next week, just for your rookie season? And then, how can you kind of manage your expectations as well? Because, obviously that's a big and important part of being out there.
Right. I think the best thing for me is just kind of going in without any expectations. Talked about it with a couple of people, but I've been on the go. I've played in so many tournaments recently. I feel like I haven't been home in a while. it just feels like another tournament. We're just traveling
Sure.
again at another tournament. It's still a golf course with bugs, grass, and trees. And, there just happen to be a few more people watching. So that's what I like to look at it as. And I think that helps me a little bit. But it also helps me that I haven't really had a break in a while, and I'm just kind of continuing the momentum that I've had over the past couple of months. So I don't know if there's a whole lot of expectations. Obviously, I want to do well, I want to play well, and I want to finish well. But
Sure.
I don't think that that it really helps me standing on the first tee of a tournament, with certain expectations in my head. I just have to go out and play like I have been playing, and I think I'll be just fine.
Great. Well, Alex, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your busy schedule this week to talk to me. We're all going to be rooting for you in the Carolinas, and in me, you've made a fan of life out of me. I'll be rooting you on every week, and I'm sure many others will after watching this. Thanks so much.
Well, I appreciate it, Nolan. Thanks for having me on.